the SAS Daily Podcast here on WBLE Central Ohio's Classic Hits and also here on YouTube. We're blessed enough to have an interview with Wayne Wilson. How are you doing today, man?
Doing great, bud. How you?
Doing good, man. Appreciate you being on.
Oh yeah.
Definitely, man. And I know you got some pretty cool stories, um, being in the cryptid world, and you also have worked on movies as well. You want to tell the people about that?
Well, it goes from I would say it would go from the time where I was first starting this Bigfoot stuff, but yeah, freaking got my journey with monsters. We filmed that. I'll give you an interesting story how that came about. Um, I've been talking to this dude down in Florida, Stacy Brown, and uh and but I was also got this idea for this movie, and I said, well, I want to film this movie, because I had so much crap happen. And I was like, it was almost people couldn't believe a lot of what I was saying at the time because it was so much of it. It didn't, one thing didn't happen, a bunch of crap happened. And, you go from you go from this, but here I was with this idea, and I was going to pay this guy $1,500 to make me a poster. But this was supposed to be, this dude's an artist, so he would have done it. But then Stacy tells me, "Hey, you give me that 1,500, and I'll come up there and do your movie." And I said, "All right." So, but here's the funny thing: at the time, he didn't believe half of what I was saying. He didn't believe none of, and he was what I call a skeptic at the time. He was a flesh and blood Bigfoot person at the time. And but after day three of filming with me, he changed his whole attitude about it. And he comes to me at day three and says, "Listen, I know it's your movie and I filmed it for you." He said, "But listen, I'll make a little 34-minute documentary about it." He said, "And we'll send it to the film festivals." And he said, "Because it's that good." And he loved it. So I said, "Okay, we'll do that." But what happened was we sent it to a few test people, and somebody leaked it, and it got leaked. So we couldn't send it to the film festival no more. So we had to just go. He went ahead and put it on Amazon. And but still, every how many people do you know of that's done a documentary on Amazon? Is got a I think we got a 91% rating on there. I mean, nobody. There's only a few people that was said something bad, but that's the people that just don't like me. But everybody else that commented on it. I mean, and to this day, when you hear people in the locker room, I mean, I guess it would be a locker room, but at Walmart having a viewing party of my movie. Then you hear about it at another place, at another grocery store where a dude's in there showing everybody my Bigfoot stuff. And then just the other day, I was at the Goodwill, and the dude's in there saying the night before they're all talking about my ghost hunting stuff. And it makes you feel good. It makes you feel good because people are excited about the stuff. And when you're setting on a movie that's been 3 years in the making and know how good it's going to be. I mean, I was watching. I had watched I think we went and seen The Evil Dead, right? And after I got done with The Evil Dead, it gave me this really creepy, eerie feeling, watching something that was really creepy. But then I started thinking, I just watched something like that, and it was my ghost hunting documentary that's coming. And I could tell you this, the at the end of it. I mean, I'm not giving away all of it, but I'll tell you at the end something. We were in a room doing a séance, and something in that room drained me completely. I'm the dude. I mean, Stacy cuts to me. Stacy cuts to me, and I'm completely drained. When he cuts back the camera, there's a set of eyes looking right at us in the hall. So what's good about this one? what's good about this one, we didn't fake anything. You know, most ghost hunting shows, if you know anything about them, they do a lot of fakery. We didn't fake nothing. If you see stuff that happens in live in there, like there's one instance where I've got the EVP. Well, I mean, no, the what is it? What is it called? The one that detects energy. I can't think of the
Ghost
name of it.
meter.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was going off. I had it tracking something in the woods, and it was going off. It's raining and it's dark, and next thing I know, it's gone. And Stacy said that something grabbed him. So when I put the meter back toward him, it was lit up. So whatever grabbed, it didn't want to mess with me, but it sure grabbed him. And all that's on that, all that's going to be in that movie. And I mean, yeah, it's like you take. I think this will be the movie. I think the first one was just a rehearsal. I think the next one's going because you're going to see a lot different. I mean, and that's good because anything I do from now on is going to be even better. But you get better with experience, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah, but yeah, shoot, I'll give you the thing though with the first movie just making the announcement we were going to do it. Then here comes the Facebook post. Somebody puts a big negative post on my on Facebook time. I have to take it down because I don't know who this person is. Next thing I know, they're messaging me saying, if you do this movie, we're going to burn the woods down. And the next one comes, I get rid of that one. When that don't work, then they come and say they're going to take my dogs away. And they're threatening me, just left and right, threatening me. And it's all because I saw that man in black. And they don't want me talking about that man in black. And so then we get a I mean it's funny because then we get a call from somebody out of the blue. I don't know who this person is. They call and said, we see, this is his exact words to me. We feed the skies to keep them quiet, but you keep waking them up. What's it going to do to shut you up? And offer me $500,000. And I thought it was a joke. I didn't take it serious, so I didn't. But then I'm out washing my car, and I find a freaking tracking device on my car. So they had put a tracking device under the back fender of the Camaro I was driving. I mean, I was getting followed. I mean, it's like when you make enough noise and you get the attention of people that you don't want to get the attention of. They'll try to disprove you. They'll try to disprove you. They'll try to change it. I mean, I can go back and tell you all of that stuff. And then when I moved, I was told I'm no longer a person of interest. That I'm no longer, so they're not messing with me anymore. So I thought. So I'm not even here a good year, and somebody calls me out of the blue, telling me that my life is in danger, that I needed to seek local law enforcement for protection. Now, I don't know what this is, but here was the interesting part about this call. It came from a prominent lawyer in Florida. And the lawyer, I called down there, the lawyer swears up and down nobody called there. But yeah, it's on my phone and there's a message on my phone from that office. So it just tells you they're working everywhere. They're involved in everything. And shoot, I believe it's just you know, again, you make enough noise, they're gonna come after you. They're gonna threaten you, they're gonna do everything, but you can't live like that. If I let that stuff bother me, I mean, I let that stuff bother me, I'd be a loony right now. A paranoid loony too, but I'm not. I mean, because it's fun when you can just talk about it and joke about it. But if you really think about the seriousness of it, it was dangerous. It's still dangerous. I mean, I don't know from time to time. I don't know from time to time who's going to pull me over. I mean, it's like you do nothing wrong, but yet you get pulled over and detained for 20 minutes, and it's just to me, it's intimidation. And it don't, and then you start thinking, is it the police? Is the police in on with the same crap that the other people were doing to me? I kind of believe so. You know, and just the other day, one rode by me, and then and I ain't posted nothing about this, so you get to hear it first. One rode by me and act like he was going to turn around and come after me, but he kept going. And then I go straight. I go on down, and guess what? He had took a side road and came out right where I was at, sitting there waving at me. You don't tell me that ain't intimidation. He's like, I know where you at. And then I'm in Walmart. I'm in Walmart, and there's a car. I mean, there's a police officer sitting right there next to where I am. But if you ever know about Walmart, police are always up at the front because they're always up at the front because they're getting shoplifters. But the police officer was right there next to my vehicle, and I thought it was just all he was off duty and he was in Walmart. So I go put my stuff in and close the trunk, and then he cranks up and rides right by me and looks dead at me. And it's like he was there waiting for me to come out. Yep. But again, if you let this stuff bother you, you can't. You can't. And that's what I'm saying about what we do. I don't get out there no more. I'll tell you the reason I don't get out there no more. And I like being filmed. I like getting a group of people, and I like to go out there and do this and experience with other people now. Ever since I've done these movies, that's the way I feel now. I just can't go out there by myself anymore. And plus, I went out and invested in a I would say a $1,200 a 4K camcorder, and I had good luck last year. I had a group with me, and they're going to be the ones in the movie too. But I had a group with me, and I mean, it was fun. I mean, when you're going to do this stuff and you're out there in the middle of the woods, you want to have it make it fun. You don't want. I've been by myself so many times. I mean, I went to this one trail by myself. I mean, every time I go there, I'd get eat up with mosquitoes. I would see snakes everywhere. I would get spider webs in my face because I'm tall, so I'd walk right in them. And and pretty much would have a heat stroke. But I tell you, there was weird things that would happen when I would go to this place. Like one time, I'm with my wife, and one time I was with my wife, and we were just sitting there, and it started to rain. I look over in the corner, and there was a Sasquatch standing right there next to the tree. And I tell my wife, I said, this is going to be the closest one I ever got. But then here comes some people walking around. And you can't film them when there's people around, because then if you do and they see it too, well, the trail, you won't have the trail no more. So I had to cut the camera, so I went, but I was still watching him, and he took off running, and I couldn't catch him back on camera again. But I got one good picture of this dude, and I mean, to me it's one of the greatest things I've ever done, because I know how close he was. And but then again, I got a dog man one that probably was about 8 feet from me. I mean, in the beginning, the dog man didn't like me. I mean, I mean, I don't know how they've got the ability. I still haven't understood how certain things have abilities that they can do. But the first time I saw one of these things, I thought it was a freaking devil. And I told him to get out of my woods. I'm walking, I'm walking back. Now I'm out there with a point and shoot camera, and I'm just basically taking pictures of my dogs. Then a lightning bolt comes out of the woods right by my head and hits the fence. And somehow I caught a picture of it. So it was like, it was like I can tell that story and nobody would believe me, but because I got a picture of it, everybody's gonna have to believe it. and and that's what I'm saying. And people too, with Bigfoot, the reason why people say they're always blurry in pictures and they're blurry. Well, a lot of it's what you call frequency. And I found this out too when we filmed that last movie. We was out in the woods, and I know there was a good 8, 9 foot tall one out there. I filmed his eyes glowing, and and I know he's still out there. So Stacy tells me to get the REM pod and sit it at the edge of the woods. Take the other thing, the EMF detector. Take that thing and hold it. So as I'm sitting there, I'm not joking with you. The EMF lit up. So did the REM pod. And there was so much energy there that the EMF was burning my hand. That's how much energy was in that area. And I'm not joking. Stacy told me after he went back to his campground where he was at. He said that thing stayed on lit for 3 hours after he took it back with him. That's how much energy came through that. Now, you think about it, that's why when you people record these things, you know how much energy might be around them. Now, if you try to film them and it's blurry, you know why? All that energy. I mean, all that energy is emitting around them. So you try to film anything with a lot of energy like that. And I mean that's probably one of the best explanations for it, other than being, people. Some people can't see them better than others because it's just the frequency. Some people are on a higher frequency, like I am. I would say I'm up to a 5 on frequency, and then there's people still on the 3. And it's basically like this: most people can see 3D. Um, some people can see 4D, and then there's some that can see 5 or better. And the ones that can see 5 or better see everything, and that's ghosts and UFOs and everything. And even now, I don't do the pictures, but the other day I noticed something keeps coming up to my window when I go to bed at night. It's usually around 1:30, 2 o'clock. I'll get woke up with this kind of like light. It's like a light, almost like somebody's looking in on me. And then I'll see this dark figure walk by. And it happens too much that I start thinking maybe I got a ghost out there. But then I find footprints, and I find good footprints. But what it was that I had just mowed the yard. So there wasn't no high grass, but something walked through there, and it's a line of footprints. I mean, that big. I mean, and they had toes and everything. And I stuck my foot in it, and it was probably that much more bigger than my foot. And so I do know the Sasquatches are coming around. They used to do that where I lived before. They would come and stay outside my windows, and I don't know why, but they would. They would just come and sit outside my windows, and and then when I get up in the mornings, the dogs would know where they were. Dogs would go find the spots and pee on, and they would know it. Well, really, it came from how they figured it out was, you know, imagine this. Your dogs go out and they know something's out there. They know they were in the woods, but they never mess with them. But then one night I let them out, and they would always run. They would always run to this around this tree to this fence where this dog was, because this German Shepherd, they kept it outside all the time, so it would be there waiting on them. This time they come out, they don't turn, they go straight for the wood line. When they do, I watch that white female of mine jump up in the air and hit that Bigfoot. And when they did, it knocked her back 3 or 4 feet, and it knocked her back 3 or 4 feet. And he went crashing down because I had put all these sticks I got out of the yard at the wood line. So he's standing in those sticks. So when she hit him, it tripped him. He falls, And I see him down there trying to get up, scurrying to get up when the dogs all swarm the area. So I'm trying to get the dogs out because I know there's more than just him in the woods. So I'm thinking to myself, if I don't get them back in the house, me and the dog both are going to be massacred. But I didn't know at the time, they're not like that for real. But you don't know when you first discovering this stuff. But it's funny because after that happened and they got the scent of that Bigfoot, then they started knowing where he was. And the white boxer, it took her a few days. She had sore ribs because she I don't know, when she went into contact with him, it done something to her. But after she started getting better, my wife's like, I can't get Whisper out of the woods. And then finally she come running out, and she said something just yelled at her, and she come running out. So a few days later, she's doing it again. She goes right back there, and she knows where he's at, and I hear it. And she comes running back out again. So she's back there messing with him. But if we had have stayed there, I mean, we had to move probably a few months later. But if we'd have stayed there, I'm pretty sure, because what started happening was they started knowing where they were. And I would see them sometimes. I'd be trying to leave, and I'll be trying to find my dogs, and they'd be sitting in the woods getting rubbed by the Bigfoots. Bigfoot, and that's another thing too. Everybody says they kill dogs. They don't kill dogs. And the thing that, you know all the people that say, you know I had this encounter, and it scared me to death, and they did this and it did that. A lot of times I think it's like a fishtail. You may have seen it, but it didn't do everything you thought it did. You just imagined it, because I've been around too many of them, and I'm not dead. I was in the freaking trail one day. I was in the trail one day, and the rain came down so hard that I had to jump in the woods. So I asked them, could come stay in the woods with them. Little do I know, little do I know, while I'm standing there, something comes up somewhere behind me, and I smell that smell. And if you've ever been out there and smelled what they really smell like, oh, I mean, it's a combination of funky raw sewage and bad BO. That's what it smells like. And if you smell it, then you know that they're close by. And I mean, I've seen them sit. This is how bad they stink. They sit on the grass at my yard where I used to live, and they kill the grass. I mean, they be. I found butt prints out there where the grass was dead. So, but yeah, just I just think a lot of people, you know, I mean, you look at Les Stroud, his experience. They came to him telepathically. They showed him things telepathically. Now that's the same thing they did to me. And what they do is, when they realize they've got a good, peaceful person that's willing to have an open mind, that's who they want to mess with. They don't want to mess with just anybody. And when somebody tells me, "Hey, they keep coming in my yard, they keep yelling and stuff," I said, "Well, go out there and say hey." I said, "If you keep avoiding them and keep getting scared of them, they're going to keep doing it. They're just testing you to see if how scared you are. If you're not scared of you, they'll become your friend." And I believe, as big as some of them are. I mean, they would be scary to most people. But me, I mean, they would only, in the beginning, they would only let me see one of them. I knew there was plenty of them there. I could feel them, but I couldn't see but one. And it was like, that was the alpha, and I'm out there one day taking pictures. I'm taking pictures of some footprints, and and then something just came over me to look across the road. Because here's the weird part: I had trail cams up. Every one of my trail cams, I mean, were 100 to 50 feet away from the other side of the road. Every trail cam picture I kept getting Everything I kept getting was from across the road. So it was almost like the trail cam pictures were taking pictures of something big that was across the road. And so I finally, I realized after a while, they're not coming in there no more. They're not coming in there no more to take no, they don't want those trail cams in there. So they're not coming in my woods anymore. So I took them down. And, and I got this one. I mean, I had this trail cam sitting on my grill, right? I didn't have it bolted down. I just left it there. I come home and checked the card, and whatever jumped on my porch, I caught the hip and the shoulder of it, and I've sent this picture to every what I call hunter, every darn Bigfoot expert, everybody. And the clear thing they say is it's definitely something cryptid. It's not not a bear. It's too big to be a bear. And it is. It's probably one of the best, what I call the best close-ups of any cryptid. And even though I didn't get his face or anything, but still clear to see how matted the hair was. I believe it was a dog man. Because Bigfoots usually have hair like we do. And again too, think about it. What is really Bigfoot anyway? It's just it's evolved human being. That's all it is. It's a human being that evolved. This is what they told me. We don't eat the foods you do because they poison it. We don't have the shots that you take because it keeps you from growing. You didn't know that. We were all supposed to be giant people. But back in the I would say back in the well, I guess whenever the aliens came around, they changed everything. You know, that's how we got the Federal Reserve. The aliens came in the 50s when I guess Roswell happened. That's when Federal Reserve was built, and we start getting taxed out of the crap. And I tell people, you think slavery's over, and this ain't. I'm not trying to change the subject, but slavery ain't over. They just found a new way to enslave us all. And I mean, think about it. You can own your own house and own it outright. If you don't pay the taxes on it, what happens? You lose it. You're driving a car. If you don't pay the taxes on it, what happens? They won't let you drive that car no more. And 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 freaking, you can't work. I mean, if you can't work, if you don't pay your income tax, they'll put you in jail. I mean, that's what I'm saying about slavery. It's still there. It's still here. It's just they've enslaved us a different way. And then COVID was the ultimate way to do it. And I'll tell you something about that. I never had the shot. I never took any of the shots. And I know people that did that keep getting it, and why they keep getting it, because all the shot was a way to kill us off. And the ones that did get killed off, but then it was also the way that people that have it now will get it. It's no different than the flu shot too. The flu shot, if you get the flu shot, you'll get the flu. Why is that? It's what they do, you know. But oh shoot, well, you got anything you want to ask me?
Yeah, I agree with you about the COVID shot, man. I know some people that's died actually after taking the shot.
Well, it's usually, to me, it was that booster. People that was taking that booster was getting dying off like crazy. And I told my wife, I said, they better not force you to do it. They forced her to get the COVID shots where she works at, but they never forced her to take that booster. And thank goodness, because the boosters were what was killing off people. I mean, think about that football player that just dropped dead on the field. He just had one. And I don't think he's still alive. I think what you got there is an actor that took his place. They don't want people knowing he died on the field from a COVID shot, but he did. You think about it, nobody that's dead for 20 to 30 minutes is coming back. I mean, they're dead, and I don't care. They're not coming back, and he didn't come back. They just found the actor. I've seen a picture of him. Um, now he don't have tattoos on his arms, but the original guy had tattoos on his arm. Where did the tattoos go? It's actors. Just like our good old president, he's an actor, a pretty bad actor.
Yeah,
But
man.
yeah, I mean, think about it. Think about it. Who's really running this world, and why are they doing this to us anyway? First they give us and I mean they give us a gay president with a tranny wife, and then try to tell us, and then try to tell us that this is a great family unit, and this is a great family unit, and then those weren't even their kids, and
Yeah,
then and like I said, Trump gets in there and they hate him so bad because he's doing what we want, but they hate him because it ain't the same scenario. So what they do, they got their way and got and rigged that. I don't care what nobody says. They rigged that election,
they did.
and and they put that senile Biden in there. And here was my comment. I couldn't be mad about it because I knew they did, but I couldn't keep stewing about it. So I said, "You trust me, he's going to give me some good comedy relief for the next few years." And boy, hasn't he! Just go on TikTok and watch some of them videos. You know, that's a good listen. That's the reason I think they're trying to ban TikTok, because that's really the only format where you can get away with putting stuff like that on there. I mean, you can't. Well, you can Twitter now. Since Elon Musk bought Twitter, it's kind of went back to right. But Facebook and Instagram, you put anything up there, and then you wind up in Facebook jail. That's why, if you notice, I don't put anything on my page. You see, my page is just me and food and whatever I film. But but yeah, it's like you got to be careful. You can't say too much. And and not only that too, I've got a movie I want the distributor to buy. I don't want to make the people that are going to buy it mad at me. it's and it's really possibility that might happen. If I make enough noise. But yeah. Well, anything else you want to ask me?
Yeah, that's actually what I normally do on here on the radio show is political stuff. I'm actually elected official, so yeah, I agree with you. I'm a Trump supporter. I voted for Trump.
Well, I didn't, but I also know before the election I said that he would win. And the reason I mean I that's the problem with me. I'm one of these psychic people that have the ability of knowing. It's not it's different than some people that can feel them or see them. This is something that where you have the ability to know. And I knew he was going to get elected for one reason. Nobody would vote for Hillary Clinton. She is so evil that nobody would have ever voted for her. But he was the only option, so everybody voted for him. But but then you got what I call brain dead people. I mean, really brain dead people that he says bad things. He offended me. He offended me. Well, that's what you want in there. I mean, good day. I mean, when he oppressed me when he was sitting over in North Korea, no president's ever been in North Korea. He was the only one that did it. But you know why? Because he was that kind of person that could get it done. And I'll be honest, if he wasn't such a public person, I think they would have killed him already. But now they're trying to ruin him in other ways, trying to sue him, trying to say, it's you can tell how one side is so scared of the potential that he's going to run against. So they're doing everything they can to get him out. And look how many times they tried to impeach him when he was in. The people that run this world. Now I'll tell you a little something. And now, if this Illuminati stuff was real that I was dealing with, they don't like they don't like what's in the White House right now. They don't like it. So if this Illuminati that I'm talking about, is evil, is crap. But at the same time, they don't like that. They don't like what's going on. And think about this too: all the celebrities that are moving out of Hollywood now, they don't even like it anymore. And I think what's going to happen is you're going to see I really don't want it to be Trump. I really want it to be DeSantis because some reason I got a better feeling that he would get more accepted than Trump would. Because if Trump gets back in there, you know it's going to be impeach, impeach, impeach. And why haven't they impeached Biden yet? I mean, because you know why? Because the same people that got rid of Trump, the Republicans, are still in league with the Democrats. That's exactly what's going on. You
Uh,
know, and like I said, you just know. You just know. It's like I tell you one of the I tell you one of the couple. I'm gonna give you a couple of instances of things that happened to me that because of my knowing abilities. Okay, well, after this COVID thing, we were leasing a house from this well, basically slumlords, but evidently we were the only ones still paying because the state had said that if you rent a house, you don't have to pay your light bill and you don't have to pay your more. I mean, pay your rent. But we were the only ones still paying, and everybody else was not. But we were paying because we wanted out of there. We knew if we paid it on time, then the mortgage company we'd had a house right before that, but then COVID hit and we lost it because COVID. So we had to wait another year. But the guy got mad at us. He said he don't want to be in the housing business no more. He wants to get rid of them because nobody's paying the rent no more. But then I called him and told him, I said, I said, at least give us a few months to get our credit up so we can get out of here. And so I talked to this lady, right? She says, we're gonna give you to October. Well, this is October the next year. I said, no, this is how it's gonna happen. And this was October of 2020 when I told her this. I think we moved in 21. But I told her, I said, we're gonna find a place in January. I said, we're gonna find a place in January. We will close on that house in April, and we'll be moved by the 1st of May. And this was what I told her in October. How I would know this, I don't know. But guess what? We got the house in January. We closed on it in April, and we moved by into this house by May the 1st. It happened exactly the way I told her it would. And then there was one day, and I like this one the best because I'm riding down. I'm riding. I think I got $2,000 in my pocket, and I'm riding to the car lot. My wife's like, "Why are we going there?" I said, "I'm going to get us a new car." She said, "They're not going to give us no new car." I said, "Yes, they are." And this is what I told her I wanted. Now I haven't got in there yet. I said, "I'm going to get something. I don't want something new. I want something that's a couple years old. I want something with low mileage, and I want a payment around $500 before I get there." And I said, "I'm gonna put 4 grand down." I said, "They're not gonna turn me down." So I go in there. Guess what happens? The 4 grand's down. Um, the 4 grand's down. The payment's 530. Uh, we get a car. We get a Hyundai Santa Fe that only had, I think, 70,000 miles on it. So we got everything I said we were gonna get before it ever happened. And but there is things that happen with people that do have these abilities. I can't gamble. God won't let me. God won't let me do anything like that anymore. He won't let me do anything that's evil or anything like that. I can't go buy a lottery ticket. I can't bring myself to do it. Even though I know things and I could use these abilities to maybe win the lottery, but you know why I don't? Because it doesn't work that way. If you start doing that, you lose your abilities. God will take them away. And I think a lot of it, even with Bigfoot, they were so the times I talked to them, they were so spiritual. I mean, they talk like my friend or my they would always call me my friend and then they would call me my brother. Almost like talking about like old Indians, how old Indians used to talk. And think about it, if they were a race that was they were with the Indians back in, I don't know how many years ago it was, but if you hear the stories about about Bigfoot, the reason why they went into the woods in the first place, it was because of some rogue one that come out and killed and ate a little girl, and when it happened, it caused their whole friendly relationship with the Indians to go away, and they even told me this too. They told me this too. They said that they stay in tribes. They stay in tribes. They have one alpha, which is usually the biggest one. Like the alpha that was in my woods was like 15 feet tall. But most of them were six. Most of them run between 6 and 8. But he said if what they do now is that they expel if somebody comes in their group and they're bad, they expel them and they're not allowed to come back in that group. And you start wondering why they put those X's everywhere. And you start wondering, maybe, just maybe, it's either markers to show other Bigfoots where they're at, or there's markers to tell you to stay out. I mean, it's one or the other. But I'm not an ex. I'm not. I tell anybody, even though I do know a lot, I don't know all of it, and I don't know when we'll know all of it. But it's locked somewhere in here. They did tell me all of it. I just don't remember it. I mean, but but that's something else they showed me too. Think about this. They showed me how to walk through walls. They showed me how to teleport into offices. And the reason they were showing me this stuff is because it was like, hey, you can change the world. You just think about it, and you can get into an office of a politician and you can change the way he thinks. You can literally do it. And then he said, everybody has that ability. All of us humans have the same abilities as they do. We're just not evolved enough yet. And I think that's why I can't walk through a wall right now, because I do know how to do it. But you know, I think we're not as a people yet. We're not as evolved as they are, and they've been evolved. And plus, I think the aliens have come in. Think about this too. We were go back to the 1800s when the cowboys were around. Remember, we were a really dumb race of people, and then all of a sudden, something happens in the 1800s. They change our DNA, and we get smart. We start building trains. We start building things. We start getting smarter, and it's all because they changed their DNA. And then I think they did it again sometime in the 70s. They changed their DNA again. And think about it, when they did, what happened? Computers started coming around. People started getting smart how to build computers. And I think the aliens come in and change our DNA so much, and I do believe too that when I had that, I would say I had a spiritual awakening, back before all this Bigfoot stuff happened. And I think, you know, I mean, the best way to say this is best way to say this is, here I am on the I'm this is I'm not wanting to change the subject, but it's got something to do with it too. But I'm on the floor, my knees are shot. I go to the doctor for the first time in 30 years. 30 years I hadn't been to a doctor. I go to a doctor and he tells me, he says, one knee is gone, the other knee's starting to go, and you're going to be in a wheelchair in 2 years. And he tells me this, and, you know, but this dude's retiring. He's retiring, but he's being brutally honest to me. So the next thing happens, I get sent to this urgent care place, and I start realizing this is what these doctors were doing to me. I mean, these doctors were just experimenting on me, trying to figure out what worked and what didn't. So I'd go in there. He said, "Well, how is your pain levels?" I said, "They're at a 10." Okay, well, we gotta give you something strong, or we gotta put you on this. We gotta put you on that. Put you on this. Started having freaking crap. I mean, having blood in my crap. I started having memory loss, and I finally just said, "I'm going cold turkey on all of it." except for vitamin D, because that's one good thing came out of it. They told me my body doesn't produce vitamin D. I can't get it from the sun or milk. I have to, I have to take it. But then you start realizing, you know, I I just go off of all of it except for the vitamin D. I wouldn't take the arthritis medicine no more. I cured my high blood pressure. I had really high blood pressure. I cured it. And then I start trying to figure out, because I'm taking like I would say 12 to 14 ibuprofen every 4 hours. That's how bad it was. And this is when the Bigfoot started coming to me at night. I just asked him one night, I said, why do we take pictures of you chewing on this root? I said, there are a lot of pictures I get of you are always y'all chewing on a root. They said, because there's a root in the ground that heals, and we chew it to heal, and you can get the same root. So guess what I did? I started looking online, trying to figure out what root heals you. And then I find turmeric. So I find a turmeric. I give me some turmeric. It works. And then I realized I need stronger turmeric, but it's still working. So here we go. I would say 2015. It's what 2029, 23 now. I'm not in no wheelchair. I'm walking. I get out there and bust my butt, push mowing a 100 by 100 fence. I'm around that, and and I just tell people what healed me. What healed me? Was it what they told me? Or did they do something to heal me? I mean, don't get me wrong. I get every morning I get up. I mean, that's why you won't see me that active on Facebook in the mornings, because that's usually when my pain levels are there. But I take all that stuff. I take vitamin. I just take vitamins. I take vitamins and I take turmeric. And then like I said, then every morning I'll take it. I'll be in the worst kind of pain. Then when I get lay back down a few hours later, guess what? I'm not hurting no more, and I can go the whole day. And it's like changing. It's basically like changing the way you think and changing the way you think. And then I discovered eugenics, which was the greatest thing I ever found, because I've been hearing about it. I said, well, I'll try it. And I'll put it this way: one eugenics has caused me to lose a ton of weight, so that's good. One eugenics keeps me going and makes me do everything I do out there, and then one just puts me back sexually like I was 20 when I was 25. And I mean, when you get 50, 52, I think I'm 52 now, but if you get 52 and you're getting better, you get looking better than you did probably when you were 25, and everything else is going back to where you were 25. I mean, that means I'm expending myself shelf life at least 20, 30 more years, and the good part about it is too, that I got down here, and I mean, you talking about somebody, it changes people. You know how many times I've ever planted anything? How many times I've growed anything? But then when I got here, it's like I changed. All I wanted to do was grow stuff. And now I'm growing my own food. I'm growing tomatoes, I'm growing peaches, I'm growing apples. I mean, I don't buy them in the stores anymore. I'm just waiting till mine get ready so I can have them. I mean, I got probably a million blackberries out there right now. And I mean, blackberries, raspberries. I mean, and then, I moved to a place where there weren't no trees. It's just big empty yards. Mine in a couple of years ain't gonna look like that. It's gonna have big trees in it, because and and when you move to a place and you start planting trees and you start growing your own food, I mean, something right here has changed. And you go from a person that didn't like that. I mean, I was, and not only that, I got more. I swear, I got more spiritual when I got down here. It's like I changed. I went from being a, I went from being a Bigfoot or a Bigfooter, or I went from being that to more of a spiritual type person. I mean, I give money to people all the time. I mean, I'll see somebody that needs it, I mean, guys one day asked, he said, I gotta get to High Point. That was a 20, 25, 30 miles from here. And he didn't have no gas. So I gave him some gas and I watched him, gas money. I watched him. He went in the store and got his gas. I mean, because I know the people I give money to, I already know before I give it to them that they're not some bum or scammer. There's a lot of them I won't do it to, but if I see one, like one day a lady was like, she was talking about this family that their house had burned down and they didn't have any insurance, and she's out there. She didn't want to be out there. She was so upset, and I didn't know it was her house. I thought she was just raising money for people. Come to find out, it was actually her house, and that was one where I gave her about $30. I was like, I'm trying to give her as much as I could because and I didn't think she was lying. And but it's like I was telling my brother the other day. I said, this world ain't about money. And that's what these people on Facebook don't understand. I don't look at the world like that. Honestly, I'm happy if I've got food in the house, gas in my car. I don't need $1 million. That ain't what I'm about anymore. I'm not about that anymore. And I don't even think about it. If I do get rich, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna start a boxer rescue. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm not trying to get rich from this. I wanna help. And it drives me crazy, especially seeing, mainly on Facebook, seeing dogs that are gonna be killed or whatever, and they're in California or they're in New York. Just imagine if I had the money to go to these places and get those dogs, and have a big enough area to keep them in. And see, that to me, that's what God's doing. That's what God's doing. Is God's running through me, telling me, and it really irks me when people on Facebook get mad at me just because I say stuff like that. But it don't bother me none, because here's the thing I've noticed too about posts. If you put up a post that people get mad about, that more people will comment on that post than they will any other post. And that's what's been happening is more people keep commenting on. And like I said, one dude's like, "You don't put up enough content for me to give you any stars for. Your content's not good. I mean, not good enough for me." And I'm like, "Well, what do you want me to do? Do porn?" Because I mean, think about it. Think about it. I mean, I do. I put cooking stuff on there. Share my dog videos. I share all the stuff I do, and that's not interesting. So what does he want? I mean, that's what I'm thinking. But probably what he wants. I mean, that's what I told them. I told a friend of mine. I said, we both know this lady that's on Facebook that gets a ton of stars, but she's also wearing bikini tops and having her big boobs hanging out, and that's why people get that stuff. I'm not. And plus, I think too, most people don't know what them stars are. That most people don't know, and honestly, the only reason I know is from that lady that's on Facebook. I would have never known either, and the only reason I know is because of that. But it's funny. It's funny, I mean, it's funny, but again, again, you understand what I'm saying now about I don't care about that money. I don't care. It may honestly, it makes me feel good when I see somebody says they give you 50 stars. I mean, that's not a lot. I mean, I don't do it. I don't do it for the money. Because I mean, again, I'll be honest. I've made $9, and they won't even give it to me until it's 25. So, and look, I wrote a book that's been on Amazon. It's been on everything. That book's been around for 5 or 6 years. You know how much money I've made from that book? $20. I mean, and it's on Amazon. It's on Borders website. It's everywhere, but it ain't making no money. And everybody keeps saying, but I realize now why it don't. Everybody bugged me to write that book, it was too soon to write a book. I needed like probably when I get 60, I'm gonna write a real book. I mean, a real book that's got that's got the whole life thing in it. Because I mean, if you've seen my if you've seen my videos, I'm not talking about Bigfoot. I'm talking about the videos that happened back in the '90s. I mean, I mean, I rescue. I mean, you imagine driving a truck that has no power steering, and the dude falls asleep, and we hauling a ton of produce. This truck is heading right for an 18-wheeler. I mean, we're right there. This was a major highway, and we're right there heading toward it. And the only thing I could think to do is jump up, push him out of the way, get control of that vehicle, and pull it off the road. And and that's what I did. And so, of course, I drove it all the way down there, but I had to drive it all the way back because he wasn't no shake to do it. Plus, he'd peed on himself. So, and then this. See, here's the thing too that I want people to understand. I wasn't gonna stop putting videos up. I just don't want to give all my good stories away because they're so good. I mean, why give them away? You know, people want to hear all of it, but they don't want to give me nothing for them. And but to hear them, I mean, people need to see the life that I had before Bigfoot. I mean, the life I had before was crazy. I mean, you talking about I bust a cable thief just simply because he stole my free cable. I didn't do it. I didn't do it to help the police. I didn't do it to help the cable company, but he got mine. So you know what I done? Uh, I said, if you're gonna get mine, then I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna find you. And they told me it was a $500 reward. I was like, here we go. I look out my window and I watch him, and I see he's running around the apartments. So I think I'm on the bottom floor apartment. So I see him when he comes around, and see down below used to be a Golden Corral, and he used to park down there. Then he would walk up there and steal the stuff. So one day I figure out what he's driving. Then one day I figure out how to get in the car and go follow him. So I followed him. I figured out where he was at, and I was doing all the police work for the police. And then I told the police. I told the cable company. They told the police. The police went with me to his house, and they opened it up, and there was all the stuff. And but then they tell me, I'm thinking I'm gonna get my money now. They done figured it out. Nope. I got to go to court. Then I got to go to a police lineup and point him out. I do that. Then they arrest him. But then when he goes to court and they try to prosecute him, the judge only gives him a misdemeanor and don't even give him no time. Here's the cable company now has to pay the cost of the court and give me that $500, and they were mad. But but I was like, well, hey, I did my part. I can't help it. The judge didn't. I mean, I went into this is why I don't like that county well, I mean, I don't live in that county anymore, but the biggest reason I don't like it, I had some dude once that was he kept threatening me, he kept calling me, he wouldn't stop. I kept asking him, he's harassing the crap out of him. So I finally called a magistrate and asked him what I need to do to get this guy to stop bothering me. Now my daughter at the time was 3 years old, and he's dinging my phone 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and won't stop. And so the magistrates had come up there, and we'll go to his house. We'll go to his house and pick him up. And so they went to his house. We had a court date, and I went in there and did my part, but the judge was like, I need the judge threw it out. He didn't know nothing about these new laws about harassment by the phone and Facebook. He didn't know the law. So he said, oh, to just bring the magistrate in here and charge him. Well, after that, he throws it out. And um, after that, not even a month after that, there's another case of the same thing, but this one gets prosecuted. But he throws mine out. And that's why I said I don't like that. I don't like them. I mean, I mean, would you trust somebody like we moved to this place We moved to this place, and I mean, I'm not there 3 days inside this house living, and the cops are at the door with the guns drawn. I mean, what have I done other than move in a house? What did I do? Oh, there's somebody called 911 from inside the house. Wasn't nobody calling 911 from inside the house. And I mean, it was a 910 area code, and I'm in a 336 area code. So I know for a fact I said, there's nobody in this house. And you know what it was? It was this their way of getting all our phone numbers. And that's what they did. They wanted to know every phone number was in that house. And so then that goes back in what I call the Men in Black stuff. That happened during that time. And you know, that's why I said you can't believe that I'm just imagining this stuff when it happened like it did. you know. I mean, my neighbor across the road from me. I mean, his son was involved in that stuff. His son was he was in the military. He was protected back in the military that protected Obama when he was president. But when Obama got out of the office, he went into another line of work, which was basically doing the dirty work for the Men in Black. And and it's funny. They moved him he moved back in with his dad and moved there. They said they moved him back to his house right across from me so he could keep an eye on me. And then he got a job at Walmart. And but every night my neighbor would say a white truck would show up. He would get in it and they'd leave, and he didn't know what they were out doing. But then all of a sudden I get told that that I'm not no person of interest anymore. Well, guess what happened? The dude moves. He moves to Greensboro, evidently the person of interest is. So he moves there, gets a job there, and now he's watching that person. So, and it's like, then you think, well, they're not bothering me no more. And then I get that phone call, and then you think, ain't nothing happening no more. You're not making any noise, and then the police start bugging me. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think I'm ever gonna have a peaceful life. I think it's just gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy. And when this movie comes out, I got a feeling that all these, and that's another thing too. You think about the following I got. I've got a movie on Amazon, but do you know how many Bigfoot conferences I ever get invited to? None. You want to know why they don't want me there? Because, like Stacy was telling me one day, if you show up at one of them, everybody's going to be at your table and nobody's going to be at the rest of them. That's why they don't want you there. Because, and I told him, I said, well, this movie comes out, I may have to go to them, and maybe this one will be the one that gets me invited. It depend. I guess it depends on what format that it winds up being on. If it gets, and I'm telling you, this one's cool. He's telling me that the movie company is choosing the title of the movie. He says it's going through an algorithm, and he don't even know what the name's going to be yet. So the movie company is choosing the name of it. He said, "You probably ain't gonna like it." I said, I don't know. I, at this point, I want to see it because I done seen the rough cut. I done seen the rough cut. He says it looks incredible. It's got me excited because I can't wait. I can't wait. And that's the thing too. When this thing does come out, that's when I'm really gonna start doing interviews with people. Because I mean, it's really gonna get a bunch of interviews. But you're the first, honestly, you're the first one in months that's gave me an interview. Because I mean, I don't know if people then got scared or there is one guy. I'm not gonna name him, but he does a dog man show. And I'm not gonna say his name, but it starts with a V. But he's scared to death to do an interview with me. And this is what he told me. He interviews me and says it was one of the best ones he ever did. but he can't release it because he's too scared of the negativity that will come along with it. I mean, it's not like that anymore, though. I mean, I don't know what happened, but well, I'll tell you what happened. Trump got elected and people woke up. I'm telling you, it woke people up. And and uh and more people now, there's more people now that believe it, the stuff that I'm talking about. But you go back 7, 8 years ago, people think you're crazy. And now nobody does. Well, I mean, there's still a few that do, but I don't get the negativity no more. I don't get it. I don't even get it on YouTube. And used to, that was the worst place to get it, was YouTube. And now nobody does. I mean, I put posts up all the time and people love them. And see, I'll give it to Stacy Brown. He told me one thing that me and him got in this big argument, and he told me one thing that made such more sense to me. He says, "Do not create a new YouTube page." He said, "Your YouTube page is yours. Own it." And I started thinking to myself, he's right. So I start taking all my food videos and putting them on my little, because they got these things called shorts. So I put them on shorts, and I mean, dude, every time I put one up, I get 800 to 900 views within an hour. I mean, just the food videos, and then I start thinking I'm gonna put all these other videos up. It's no point in changing it. Maybe if I build up that YouTube page, they'll give me back my monetization. You know why took it away from me? I had this wrestling. It was a bra and panties wrestling match that I had filmed. The problem was the music that they came out to is what triggered them taking that away from me. So when I realized that's what it was, I took the video off of YouTube. I mean, I left it on there because it had like 700,000 views, but but I come to find out that's why they took it away from me. Now the only way I can get it back now is if I get 4,000 watch time hours. So if I'm able to, and that's why I said put everything up there. Something's gonna take, and I'm gonna get those watch time hours. I'm closer to 7,000 subscribers too, so that'd be good. But I mean, what shocked me is Facebook. I mean, because I'll be dead honest with you, I knew I was getting close to 5,000 friends, but I didn't know I was making such an impact that they willing to give me monetization, and evidently I was. They said my videos are getting they'll get 100 views, but then they'll come back and say, your reel just got 1,000 views, make another one. And that's what they're doing now. So that's why you're seeing me post more and more now, because it's like it's some kind of game. I'm at level 3. I'm gonna get to the next level, and then I'll get ads. Then I get to the next level, and once I get up to the big level, who knows where it's gonna go. And I didn't know it was anything like that on Facebook, but it's kind of creepy. It's kind of creepy knowing that this all happens right after the Illuminati tried to get me, and then all of a sudden now all this is starting to happen on Facebook. It makes you wonder. They're trying to get me in it a different way. Who knows? It might be, but it's all good though. I mean, I'm just amazed by it all. Oh, me. Well, anything else you want to ask me?
Definitely appreciate you being on, man. And
Yeah,
yeah, the only reason why I'm in the interview because the station gives me a certain amount of time.
yeah. Well, like I said, you give somebody, you don't. I've learned that you can't do the same interview on everything, because then it's the same interview, and you don't want to do that. But at the same time, nobody's interviewed me in months, so all this new stuff I got, I mean, I post it, but still, even if I post it, it's still not being seen or heard by the masses. So when it is, everything's going to change. And I mean, quite frankly, you know what I want to do next? If I ever get the funding to do it, I want to go up to Boston. I want to go to Transylvania. I want to investigate vampires. I really do. I want to prove vampires are real. And I ran into an actual real one before. I know they're real. It's just a matter of I mean, this girl was I think Barnes and Nobles, and she's walking around, but she was dressed up. To me, she looked like a vampire. And I went up to her and I said, "What are you supposed to be?" She said, "I said, what are you supposed to be, a vampire?" And she's like, "You're the only one in here that knew. Nobody else had a clue, but you're the only one in here that knew I was." Then she started following me around. So I told Kira, I told my daughter, I said, we need to leave. I said, this is kind of getting creepy. But, but I swear I believe she was a real vampire. And she was able to walk amongst them people and nobody knew it. And because I mean, if you imagine if you are drinking blood or whatever, and you go to a busy area and you walking amongst people and nobody has a clue, that's the best way to get somebody. Yeah, because nobody's expecting it, you know. But it's fascinating. I mean, I've always been fascinated by Dracula. I love all the vampire movies and stuff. But at the same time, I do know there's places up in Boston that have grave sites that have metal bars over them. Why they have metal bars over them if they weren't trying to keep whatever there inside them graves? And imagine if somebody goes there one day and drips some blood down in there. Oh my! You just don't know what might happen. But that to me is more interesting than say going into a really haunted place. I mean, I know that somebody told me that when they went to the what was that what's that one that's up in West Virginia, the sanitarium. Can't think of the name of it right now. But Waverly Hills, that's it.
Oh, Louisville. Yeah.
Yeah, well, anyway, somebody said they went there and they didn't get no activity. But if I went in there, I believe they would. You know, I believe they would. I mean, and I ain't even. I'll tell you something else I haven't told anybody. I was sitting in there watching TV the other day, and I seen three orbs come. They came right over the top of the kitchen table and came down and disappeared. And I told my wife, I said, this wasn't dust. I said, the way they came out, it wasn't dust. And I said, you know, and when you do have abilities, it don't matter where you live, you're gonna attract stuff that's there. You know, and my bud David, I think oh no, my bud Bill, I'm sorry. My bud Bill had the most interesting theory. He said this whole world is covered in blood. The land you live on now is covered in blood. He said everywhere is covered in blood because of all the wars and the murders and stuff over time. That basically when you move to a place, you need to get it purified. You need to get it blessed. And I haven't done that here, but I also know there's two ponds, not even 50 feet away from here. And if you got ponds and you got fish, you got deer out here. What is the best scenario for Bigfoot? That's it. And usually that's what I tell people. If you live in the vicinity where there's water, I mean, if you're a human being and you live in the woods, where's the best place you're going to find to live? Is where water is. You're not going to go live where there is no water, and makes perfectly good sense. And I can look out the window a lot of times here, and I look down at the wood line, and I'll see them down there watching. Um, I know they're coming up here because I'm seeing the footprints, and not only that, I got this real powered floodlight that's back there. If anything gets in within, I think 10 feet of it, it'll go off. One night I'm out there and the dogs are barking. I mean, the dogs are barking. They're down there where that light's out, and then all of a sudden that light lights up the whole backyard, and I see a Sasquatch running after these deer. That's what the dogs are barking at. But see, when it's pitch dark, you can't see nothing out there. If they're out there, you can't see them. But when that light came on, bam, there it was. It just I couldn't get to my camera fast enough to record it. That's the thing too. You think about it. I kick myself now to know. there was a real man in black out there in front of us. Why didn't I take his picture? Why didn't I? He was right there next to me. Why didn't I take his picture? Or when he was following me, why didn't I turn around and take his picture? I mean, it's the same way with like that dude that me and Stacy saw standing in the middle of a pond. Why didn't we record that dude? Because I mean that dude was standing in the middle of the freaking pond asking me if my name was Kirby. And then we watch him. I mean, we watch him. He's stand. I mean, that's what I tell you. That's why I love Stacy Brown, and I know that's why he loves working with me. Weird stuff happens when he comes up here, and I mean, if you be the first person that don't believe half of what you're saying, and the first thing that happens when he's up here is that. I mean, and then the dude standing in the water, and dude standing in the water, and I look at him and he said, he looks weird. I said, he looks like a, I said, no, I said, he looks weird. They said, he looks like an alien. We look and he's gone. And we look everywhere for him. And now he's in the middle of a deep pond. All it's on the other side of it's mud. So it's not like he could run out of it. You know where we find this dude? Up on the hill. He had somehow went from the in middle of the pond to up on that hill within an instant. And so I'll tell you what I think the case of it is. We've got people that are creeping around our planet that probably are aliens. And we got to see one of them. And you know, it's weird because it was like several of them. I mean, it happened again when this woman's walking by me on the trail. This woman's walking by me and she goes by me and I see her go by me. And then I notice she didn't go and she just disappeared. So I'm looking at the car. She's not at her car. I look up and see if she walked up to the road. She's not at the road. She just disappeared. And I know it was a real being. So how in the world did she disappear? And it happened again when we was out there and this lady dressed in all yellow. Can you imagine seeing somebody who's dressed in bright yellow? Weird enough already. She walks by us and says, "Hey," and then we don't see her again. And we look. There's no physical way she could have got from where she was to where we saw her at. She just went from one place to the other in an instant. So it's like people got abilities of teleporting and they can just teleport. And then there's one when I was riding, taking my wife to work one morning. They're in the middle of the road. They're in the middle of the road walking. And so I almost hit them. So I get away from them. I go down to take my wife to work. I drop her off. I go out the other side and go up that side road. Guess where they were? In the middle of that road. Now, there's a hospital that separates, a big hospital that separates one road to the other. There's no logical way they could have got over there that fast. There's no way. And it was just weird because they were walking in the middle of the road. They weren't walking on the side or anything. Cars were going around them. It's almost like, it's just weird crap. And and again, if you pay attention, you pay a little bit more attention than just live what I call a woke life. I mean, a woke life basically is to believe whatever they tell you on TV, believe everything they tell you on the news. I mean, I don't even listen to radio anymore. I got satellite radio. I listen to what I want to listen to. I don't listen to what they tell you got to listen to. I just pick and choose what I listen to now. And and to me, that's good. And I mean, it goes back, you always got to look, you always got to be aware because I mean, if I don't driving down the road doing 60 miles an hour and if I'm not looking, I don't see this orange Bigfoot that was walking in the darn swamp. I don't see it if I ain't looking. I won't see it. But there's been a couple of instances now when I was driving, I've seen them. And but this one was so good because it was a orange color Bigfoot and he was walking. And but you're doing 60 and you're going down a hill. There's no way you can slam your brakes fast enough because if you do, you're gonna hyperplane. And so I had to go on and I had the story, but I didn't have the footage, and it ain't worth my life to darn try to stop and recording. I done that enough. I mean, good day from 2015 all the way to 2021, 22. I filmed those things left and right, and it's just how much can you keep filming? How much more you need to prove? I mean, that's why I don't do it anymore. And plus, I like having friends. I like having people with me. You know, I think you get spoiled when you do movies and you get used to that. You don't want to go back to nothing less than that, and that's kind of why I don't do it. But I still won't. If I get a crew together and they say they want to go do it, I'll make time to go do it. Just I don't want to do it for one unless I got a camera in front of me because I think that was missing in all my videos was the fact that I didn't have a camera in front of me when I was doing this stuff. Now I know I need one, so that's why all my footage got better. You know. All righty, buddy. Oh, anything else you want?
I appreciate it, man. Definitely appreciate you being on.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't mind, and I don't mind because, like I said, it's it's good. It's good to tell these stories but it's too much. We'll talk 4 hours if I'm not joking. I did that with one dude. We did an interview and it was 4 parts of it because that's how long it was.
Oh, I could
But
talk for hours as well, man.
I'm, I know it, bud. But I know we got time constraints and stuff.
Yeah,
But
I don't. Uh, Definitely more people need to have you on their podcast for sure, man.
yeah, it should. Yeah, they should because it's like I'm telling my wife before. I'm not no average person. I live in a movie. I live in a movie. That's basically what it is. And when you live in a movie, and you go from and you, when you go from I mean, you go from the person that I was to the person that I am. I mean, it's just amazing. It's amazing, and people need to hear these stories because I mean, if everybody, that's why I don't want people. I don't like. I don't think people should get mad at me if I post a picture saying, "Hey, I lost 3 pounds." I want people to say, "Hey, look, I'm happy. I'm doing this. If I go weigh myself and there's 3 gone, that's even better." I mean, I'm scared now though. I don't want to get all the. I don't want to lose too much and get too skinny, but I don't think that's what eugenics does. I think what eugenics does is burn the fat. It don't get rid of the muscle. So the eugenics uh, is basically going to keep me basically being able to do it. Because I mean, used to if I mowed one part of the yard, I had to mow the other part the next day. My legs wouldn't allow it. But since I've been on the eugenics, I do the whole thing. How I do it, I don't know. I mean, the other day, I'm riding everywhere. I mowed the grass, I'm riding everywhere, and usually stuff like that wrecks me. But since I've been on the eugenics, it don't. It's a good thing for people. And maybe one day when the people from eugenics actually see they got somebody that they can actually show that it works on, maybe they'll hire me to do it. I hate to talk about them because I mean that's like giving away free advertising, But hey, if it helps somebody else, because not everybody's going to take it. It's the same thing with the turmeric. It's like I hear people all the time, I'm in this bad pain. I'm in this bad pain. Well, take that. But people don't have the patience because it takes like 3 days to get in your system. It's got to get in your system. But more people are so addicted to what the doctors prescribe them. And I mean, think about this, and I'll end it with this. But doctors, I went I went to get I had torn my rotator, so I went to the doctor because it was so bad that I couldn't hardly move my hand. So I went to get a shot put in my arm, but I told the doctor, how I self healed, and the doctor said if he had more people like me that thought like me and didn't want those pills, then the world would be a whole lot better. And it's true. It, you think why do you think that medicine and stuff is why doctors want to give it to you so you'll keep coming back, you keep getting more and more. But when you finally say enough's enough, and you realize, hey, I take these certain vitamins, I don't get sick. I don't get sick. I didn't get COVID. I mean, well, that one little fluke that my wife brought home, I did. Think I had it for like a day, but I don't even know if I had it. I haven't. I've only had it, I think, one time, and it was before they ever had a name for it. It was called a cold that they couldn't cure. You had to let it run its course. But that was COVID. They just didn't have a name for it. They got the name for it when they wanted Trump out of office. That's when the name came. All right, bud. I guess we can end it right there.
Definitely appreciate Wayne Wilson for being on. Everybody have a good day, and God bless.